Welcome back. South African Human Rights Commission Chair Chris Nissen now joins us more for a discussion on Human Rights Day and what it means for South Africans. Chris, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. Let's start off here. 30 years into democracy, and this year we will indeed also be celebrating Human Rights Day. What does this day mean, or should it mean, for South Africans?
Thank you. Good evening to all the viewers, and thank you to you as the presenters in Bali and them inviting us to be part of this discussion. First of all, let me say that, human rights is, in Human Rights Month in particular, is very important for us, and we celebrate it on the 31st as a symbol, the day of symbolic of what human rights mean to South Africans. You must remember that we came from a very dark past where there were no human rights, or at least for rights for black people in this country, black, colored, African and Indian, and that we were denied people to swim beaches, pools, separate entrances. I hope people can remember this. Even at shops with separate entrances, they were all separate benches, separate in the buses and in the trains and so on. So women and men in this country fought very hard, and they went through different processes. In the end, we achieved, through protest, the armed struggle, and international support, we managed to get our human rights back by defeating an oppressive regime. And therefore, today, we celebrate, in terms of the constitution of this country, a wonderful opportunity of having to be free, to walk wherever you can go, to celebrate, enter any restaurant where they not say whites or non-whites, enter a bus, enter a train, enter a plane. Remember, there's a lovely story about, which is sad, about when black people had to get into a plane. They could not deny us getting into a plane, but remember that time, blacks first have to enter the plane and have to enter last the plane. So those are the kind of things, aeroplane. So those are the kind of things where we come from. So this month is reminding us where we come from, the sacrifice of women and men across the country, across the color line, and where we have said, now we have sacrifice, and then through blood and sweat, prison and torture, death and protest, our people brought the democracy to our shores and brought it here in this country. And so that is what Human Rights Month is all about, celebrating the sacrifice of women and men across the years and across all color lines, being where we are today.
And coming to the gallows at the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Center, and looking at the comments being made there by the Minister of Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, saying that the gallows at that correctional facility should serve as a stark reminder of why we should never have the death penalty in this country. What do you make of that statement?
Absolutely, but we must start at the first or the second prison or the third prison in this country, which is Roland Street. Roland Street prison or correctional services, and then Kgosi Mampuru. But the first executions took place in the castle of Kudop, and then at Roland Street, which was the major prison for where the black people were executed, and then, of course, throughout the country, but Kgosi Mampuru. I am full in agreement with the minister. Never and never shall we have executions, legal executions and the death penalty in this country. Last week I attended the Justice Department's review of the Criminal Justice Act, and some people, one or two, were saying about the death penalty. Never in our lifetime. Can I give you a personal account about that? There was a comrade of mine in Johnson, Milis Junkies. And he was not, and the night before he was sentenced by a judge to death. He told me foolishly, I was never involved. And Judge Pillay, who is now Judge Pillay, was Advocate Pillay, who defended him. So I believe never, ever should we have the death penalty in this country, because many people, many black people, both political and non-political, were sentenced to death, mostly without any justification.
Yeah.
And so we can't have it.
And Mr. Nissen, when it comes to dealing with the serious crimes in this country and, looking in terms of how those who are convicted should, be punished, how would you say people who commit serious crimes should then be punished when, you always hear from various quarters where some are calling for the death penalty to come back into law? How should they be instead punished?
The law is very clear. The law is very clear. If you're found guilty of a heinous crime such as murder, rape, and so on, there is prescribed that you should be serving life, you should be serving 25 years minimum, 15, 16 years. The law is very clear that you should be punished. There's nobody in this country that thinks they can get away. They should be punished. And the law must take its course to punish those who are engaged in these heinous crimes. But let me take a step back and say, on the issue of combating crime and combating crime and making the country safe, does not only depend on the police. It also depends on the broader South African society. And we need to change the behavior. The behavioral change in this country is very important. Particularly when we see a crime happen, we keep quiet. We go on public media, Facebook and social media, and we talk all about it, but we don't do anything. Today I've come from Saldanha Bay on my way to Leeuwsdorp. In Saldanha Bay, we're still looking for the body of the 7-year-old Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a say, but nobody comes with the real evidence to the South African police. And so, as South African society, we need to, as every citizen, help South African police services, the women and men in blue, to combat crime in this country. It cannot be only the responsibility of the police. It has to be all our responsibility.
Mr. Nissen, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. That is South African Human Rights Commission Chairperson Chris Nissen, just giving us his insight as we mark Human Rights Month this March.